Black Panther is a perfect movie to pick up where we left off. I mean, it feels like a new era in itself and within the world of pop culture. Now, I'm not just going to go shouting about the positives of this movie, like its cinematography and its tonal consistency. There are things about this movie that just don't flow so well, like its underwhelming screen time of the Black Panther and its CGI in places. But I'll dive into those later. For now, I just wanted you to know that I'm not biased when it comes to the MCU or comic book movies in general. There is some shite out there. I'm happy to hear everyone's opinions on it, so leave a comment if you feel like sharing your views. Let's get into it.
There's certainly been a lot of excitement about the opportunity to do a standalone Black Panther based upon the way the character was set up in Civil War. Civil War's lost his father. Coming to this movie, you're seeing him actually deal with the responsibility of becoming the new king.
As most of you already know, the film was directed by Ryan Coogler. After his success with the film Creed in 2015, Feige was set on him being the head of the project. Coogler also went on to write the script along with Joe Robert Cole, at the time known for The People vs. OJ. Coogler did an impressive job here. I think we can all agree that bringing a comic book character to life is a difficult task, and the fact that it wasn't a major flop is a testament to how well studied and executed this film was. However, this wasn't the first time a Black Panther movie was scheduled to release. Back in 1992, Wesley Snipes was planning to make and star in a Black Panther film. The movie even went into early production with Columbia Pictures to distribute. Even Stan Lee joined the production. However, due to a corporate issue at Marvel, the film was delayed and eventually nothing ever happened, which is sad. I would have loved to have seen what a late 90s to an early 2000s Black Panther film would have looked like. One last thing while we're in the production segment, the soundtrack for the film was a substantial part of the movie's marketing, with Kendrick Lamar producing. I can remember listening to Pray For Me on repeat back when this film released. If you've seen the movie, then you know how beautiful the cinematography is. Rachel Morrison helped create some incredibly immersive scenes throughout the film. I think my favourite shots are between the astral plane sequence and Killmonger's death scene. Those I could remember vividly even after not seeing the film for a while. The environment created to depict Wakanda is something special, and it's new territory for the Marvel Universe to explore. I feel like Marvel's world was really coming together when this film released, mostly due to the cultural aspect of this film, but also showing us a never before seen corner of this universe come to life. It sucks to think that this is the only solo film I get to talk in depth about Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. His humility as Black Panther does make the character as admirable as his comic book counterpart. His personality does fit in line with how he was depicted in the comics. He's stoic and very regal in his movements. I feel like we didn't get a good representation of his intelligence. The final act should have involved his more strategic and warrior-like attributes, but I'll get more into that in the flaws section. Like for many people, it would have been interesting to see what places and storylines Chadwick's T'Challa would have gone to, but the little we did see of his character was a sobering reminder to how good of a choice he was for this role. The Black Panther suit itself is one of the best adaptations from comic to screen. His suit is glorious, but I have to say this suit did feel different compared to what we saw back in Civil War. I preferred that one way more. His suit in this film feels very CGI heavy and lacks most of the detail found in the old suit. With Shuri, I wasn't 100% on her portrayal the first time around, but rewatching it, Letitia Wright gives the film its personality, mostly from her humour, but her and Chadwick's chemistry was great. They felt like real siblings. She's extremely smart, providing the Wakandans with vibranium-based tech, even equipping T'Challa with brand new suits and gadgets. I mean, she's pretty cool. Killmonger is a crazy good villain. Michael B. Jordan smashes the role with some great intensity. His motives are actually very valid in a way, and that's what makes him such a unique antagonist. That is up until the third act where he dons his own Black Panther suit, and while it makes sense in the context of this film, it does feel like a bog standard MCU hero fights himself gimmick that was common back in the early phases of the MCU. Killmonger's death scene, however, was beautiful in how it was shot and written. It was a really good send-off for such a cool villain. I've briefly mentioned a few standout flaws found in the movie, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into them. They seem to revolve around the third act. Production must have been rushed during the latter half of the film. For one, the CGI is abysmal during the fighting scenes between T'Challa and Killmonger. The location they decided to set the fight in, I think it was the Vibranium mines, wasn't a good choice. It made the fight feel extra CGI heavy and was hard to see at certain points. The fight in itself was underwhelming as it turned into one of those general Marvel brawls with no real strategy, which sucks. As I said earlier, it would have been cool to see T'Challa's fighting knowledge put to the test in the final moments of the film. Watching this movie the first time around, I can recall it not living up to my expectations. This was due to two reasons. One is the perfect portrayal of him in Civil War, and the film losing that spark he had in his first appearance. And the second was due to the overwhelmingly positive reviews of this film before its release. They did the movie dirty in the long run. To bring it back to the title, there is some valid importance to the Black Panther movie. It's integral that we have different cultures integrated into film and art. It changes the way people perceive things, and kids watching this will be more accepting of diversity. It's more important than you might think. But let's take that out of the picture right now though and talk about the film itself. Clearly, it's impressive visually. However, it's desperately lacking in areas. The plot felt very contrived and missed some opportunities that would have made this film perfect, like using Ulysses Klaue as the main antagonist. While I do feel as though Killmonger was an awesome addition, having Klaue make his appearance in Age of Ultron and then underutilizing him was a massive letdown. I think the biggest thing to take away from this movie is its use of community and responsibility. Community because we see Wakandans coming together in fighting for their home. However, the use of this teamwork is something that I've seen as a downfall of the movie too. We rarely see any use of Black Panther as a standalone figure. He's constantly backed up by either his sister or the Dora Milaje, and that makes the main character feel dependent, unlike other heroes we've had by this point. T'Challa takes on a hell of a lot of responsibilities after his dad's passing, and this movie does confront that in many ways. And that's what makes this movie for me. It feels like a down-to-earth film when you get to the core of it. There are definitely some negatives found here, but looking into the positives, it was a genuinely good movie.